there's three fail-safes in a society. You got God, culture, and community. I'm putting those together. And then the family. And when those three are removed, then all that's left is the police and the government, jails, right? That's the last fail-safe. And I want to be clear, the first three, they don't fail. They were removed. It's not that these first three, God, community, and family, fail. They're not there anymore. And if you rely on just the police, the last fail-safe, it's not going to work. Right? There's going to be chaos. Now, if you remove the police, right, and abolish the police, well, then it's like a total chaos, right? Then now you got, I saw this video the other day of looters stealing computers from an Apple store. And this guy's walking out with a computer, and then someone comes up and beats him up and takes the computer. And then someone beats him up, and then a group of people beat him up, and then the video ends, right? But it's like looters looting from looters, and whoever's bigger and more willing to fight and use their gun wins, right? And that's what Thomas Hobbes wrote about. That's why he called that type of life nasty, poor, brutish, and short, right? That's what life is in its state of nature, when there's no community and when there are no laws. That's a state of nature, and that's what we're moving towards, right? Because we've removed these fail-safes. Now, I didn't come up with these fail-safes, right? I don't think I stole this from anyone specifically, but it's not a super original thought. But one of our listeners, I've been mentioning it a bunch, and one of our listeners sent me this sermon from the great John MacArthur. John MacArthur, one of my favorite pastors. And he gave this sermon in 2015 called How God Restrains Evil in the World. Now, it's an hour long, and I obviously cannot do the justice that it deserves, so please Google it and watch the whole thing. How God Restrains Evil in the World. But he says there's 4 restraints to human nature, 4 restraints that keep society functioning. And I just want to go through them here real quick so we get a firm understanding of it. Very first thing to note, because progressive culture has infected everybody's minds with this. So we got to get this one straight. We are all sinners in a broken world. Period. We got to stop with this progressive utopia nonsense that we're on a moral arc towards utopia, and any failing along the way is proof that we don't have a big enough government. That's the idea. People are not inherently good. People are inherently broken and flawed and sinful. We are sinners in a broken world. Just look how CHAZ is going in Seattle, okay? That's human nature on display. But here's what MacArthur says. He said, so God, because of that, God has built into human life barriers, restraints to mitigate this evil, to mitigate this corruption, to subdue sinful passion and expression so that man could make a society and be civilized and enjoy his creation and find happiness and peace and a measure of joy and gratitude. These restraints are absolutely critical. Where these restraints function as God intended them to function, life is good. People enjoy common graces. Life is rich and God is thanked. Where these restraints are assaulted, corrupted, diminished, rebelled against, society is on the brink of self-destruction. Basic to the well-being of humanity are these 4 powerful restraints. Okay, let's do it. Number 1, the conscience. This is your personal restraint. So the Greek word for conscience means self-knowledge. And self-consciousness, it's only human. No other creation has a conscience. And when people do evil, when people do bad things, your conscience goes into actions. Your conscience sends sirens out. Physically, we understand this phenomenon, right? Nobody likes pain, but we should be grateful for it. Pain's a good thing. Why is it a good thing? It tells you you're doing something that's a problem, right? If you didn't feel pain, it'd be a horrible thing. I remember, so the easy analogy, you put your hand on a stove, it's hot, it tells you to take it off, right? Otherwise your hand will burn. I remember I was a kid and I saw an episode of Maury Povich, and they had this girl. First of all, they had some girl who was allergic to oxygen or something but then the next one was someone this girl had no pain. She couldn't feel pain ever. And I remember thinking that, I was like, oh, that's awesome, no pain ever. But then she told some story about where one time she sat on a furnace and she didn't even know it. And she got all 4th degree burns or whatever all over her body because she didn't even know she was in pain. That's a horrible thing. Physically, it's a horrible thing to not have pain. But we've done that with our conscience. We've perverted our conscience so that we don't feel pain. It's critical you feel pain. It's a gift from God. Pain is a gift from God. Tells you got to stop what you're doing. Tells you got to get some help. tells you got to remedy something. And conscience is pain in the moral area. Conscience screams at you, says, stop doing what you're doing. It's a gift from God. Slater Crusaders, thanks for watching the first on YouTube. If you want more, like, subscribe. We got plenty.